Wow. Or castrated, which I mean, it's
very a good plan.
No, chimpanzees are not very nice, but it's not the biggest and most brutal that wins. They have a collaborative system. If one individual goes over the top, they get taken out.
Yeah.
So our collaboration. I mean, it's part of the thing is we do need to collaborate. We need to name the stuff that is really unsatisfactory. And we also need to stand with each other enough. Another simple analogy would be one Maasai warrior with a spear and one lion. The lion's going to win really easily. A bunch of Maasai warriors with spears and the lion hasn't got a chance. Our ability to collaborate to overcome stuff that is really powerful and destructive is incredible.
Yeah, I think in principle you're spot on.
But
there's
the but.
You're trying to make a point.
But in 2001 we had 9/11. The day before Donald Rumsfeld announced.
Can I ask a question?
Hold on, no, I said we just.
Is this going to be in the spirit of this?
No, it is. I think it completely is. I think Donald Rumsfeld announced $2.3 trillion missing in the budget. Right, you think of 2.3 trillion. No, but they've announced more money missing. They can't explain it. We don't know where it is. We've got a $8 trillion military complex. So I think what we're dealing with is the guy, the big gorilla at the top, right, has not only got everything. They've got the money to buy anybody and everything. They've got the money to corrupt any scientific research. They've got the money to corrupt the professors in the universities. Across the board.
Yeah.
We are still the majority.
So what I'm saying is raising that consciousness, getting people out of survival, out of fear, scarcity and competition to love.
But you see, that is quite fear-based. I mean, I would say it's a real fear. I mean, we should, that stuff, it's... A while back there was this place outside Bristol and the Bristol Zoo had their sort of overspill there, and it was an old stately home. And there was a tiger in the cage behind it, and I was sitting up on the sort of level, and I get really close to it, and I thought, I'm really glad that's in a cage. That was the sense of sheer power and things. It was absolutely magnificent, and I was really glad I was not in its space. So there is some stuff that we really should be afraid of, or at least we should really treat with great respect. So it's like, how do we treat this stuff with great respect and not put up with it? That's what and that's why I think systemic win is incredibly helpful.
I think it is helpful, and I think not having a good understanding of what's happening, the causality, I think is where a lot of so-called intelligent people are.
We're running out of time, but one of the things I want to say is that I think we've tried a very long experiment, which is, when you have something of value, what you do is you protect it by violence, because you know those other people are going to try and take it away from you. I think, and then you end up with locks, with doors, with armies, with castles, with navies. It just goes on and on. So we've tried to protect valuable stuff by force for a very, very long time. But there's another way of looking at it, which is, if I contribute a lot to those around me, they're not going to take the stuff that I value, because they're not going to then be able to get what I've got to give them. So if we actually start to base our security on really looking after those that contribute, so it's like, if I've got to look after myself enough. If I'm trying to make sure that my neighbours are better off than I am, and my neighbours' neighbours are better off, and we're all trying to do that, we're going to create a very different world than, because at the moment, if you have a neighbour who is somewhat better off than you, doesn't have anything to do with you, doesn't give much to the local charity and stuff, you don't like them very much. I don't. And if something unpleasant happens to them, I don't exactly feel, oh dear.
There's no empathy, connection.
No, because they're completely isolated. And equally, if someone is much, much worse off than you, and you think they might want what you've got, or whatever, then again, you want those around you to be pretty much as well off as you. And in fact, if you make them just a little bit better, that's the safest thing we can do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, in BeCollaboration we've got that spirit. And it's
because at the end of the day, the people that are the ones that will strike you up or steal from you or, knock you over the head for your watch or whatever, they are in the minority. We have to remind ourselves that the majority of the people are walking around on this planet in a safe place. So by being that with the people that we know, it is going to create this giving mentality. And if you look at David Hawkins, he's the one that's talking about raising consciousness and it having this ripple effect. So what we are doing, albeit in a small way at the moment, is creating that start. And there are the big bad boys at the top, whether you call it conspiracy theory or whatever you call it. But there always has been in history. And now we have an opportunity to do something about it.
So how are we going to round off this conversation? Because we've only got a couple of minutes.
I know.
Well, I'd like to round off on this. I think it's complex, it's challenging, and I think to have the courage to talk about it openly is what it takes. And I think the more informed we are, the more we understand, the better we can solve the problem, or the challenge of a world that works for everyone. And I think there's, in my opinion, I've spent 20 years researching because I wanted to know. And I spent a lot of time on it. And I don't think many people do. I think many people are engaged in entertainment, they're engaged in experiences, they're engaged in consumerism, they're engaged in survival. They've got the money and the...
So what are the three of us going to do that's going to, out of this meeting, what's the one thing we're going to do? I mean, what I'm interested in is anyone who's actually got something that they want some help and support in, I'm really interested in helping you be more successful.
Yeah. Helping you identify the systemic win within that problem, whatever that issue is.
And turn the systemic lose or the non-systemic win that's happening into systemic win.
And on that note, it's probably been the longest podcast we've done almost. Paul Baker.
But do you know what? I think this is part one. There's more to come, isn't there? We're going to have to do this again.
Well, I think we'll then read the
we could easily max out the SD card on this one. So, Paul, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really enjoyed it.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Well done.
So that's Paul Baker's Systemic Win. We'll put all Paul details below the video. Gill, Tiney, my co-host, me, Erkan Ali. Be inspired. Next program is on the 22nd of September, redesigned and fresh for you guys to participate in. So take care. Have a lovely summer. Bye.
Bye.
Well done. Thank you.
Is it off?
No, still on. I've got to get up and put it on.